once you have then purchased it, you effectively have something that is now a highly sought after collector's piece.
Right. Sell on the secondhand market.
The wet market, as it were.
The wet market.
Yeah.
Down by the docks.
So here's my query about this though, and I liked it because we were originally talking about wine, and it had really fun implications for what we could call it. So let's assume that that you can make wine from corn.
Yeah.
Okay. Just for the purposes
corn
of this.
wine.
I'm setting this up because I want to say 2 words and you can come back to that.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm having this thing lately where it's the idea or the lack of need or maybe the amount of resources that go into moving water physically all over everywhere.
Right, it costs a lot of money to move water.
Right. So like when you buy I did a podcast once upon a time with Hank Green where he was the first person to explain this to me in such a way that made sense. So shout out to Hank Green for this bit of information.
Right.
But when you're purchasing like a 2 liter of Coca-Cola, off the shelf at the market, like what you're buying for that $2 or however much that cost is literally the cost
literally
the cost of shipping the weight of it to the shelf. Like the materials inside of it, as far as the Coca-Cola company is concerned, are nothing. Like the syrups involved, the sugars, the flavorings, the dyes, whatever all goes into it, that doesn't cost them anything at all.
Right.
Relative to the cost of the Coca-Cola.
Of the shipping.
So if you were to have, and this was, kind of his grand business idea, was basically the idea to just sell soda syrups as a way to, effectively allow everybody to, just add water. Like we all have water where we are already, so there's no need to ship it and use so much of our resources to transport water from one place to another.
Right.
So, like, the ways that I have attempted to implement this in my own personal life so far is I bought like a buck of shampoo. So it's like a shampoo bar.
Right.
It's like literally like a hard piece of, I don't know, concentrate of whatever shampoo solution is.
Mm-hmm.
So you buy that instead of buying like the heavier bottle where the primary ingredient is water.
Right.
So anyway, I'm trying to think of more and more ways that you could limit this. And so when we were talking about having
Culture popcorn,
yeah. our wine, I was like, well, shoot, you can't just add water to wine. It kind of needs to be pre-assembled.
and it needs to be powdered wine, doesn't it?
Space wine.
Space wine.
Space wine.
Yeah.
So that's the part. It's like, how and what would you have to do in order to have a packet of wine?
Right.
Where you could just you get your packet, you pour it into a bottle, you fill it up with water, wine.
Boom. Wine.
Actual
water into wine.
Water.
Miracle. It's a miracle powder.
We turned water into wine. Oh my gosh, the marketing campaign is right in itself.
Right there. All you need is powdered alcohol. How do you do that?
How do you powder alcohol?
This must be is it a thing?
I don't think it could be a thing.
I don't think it could be a thing either.
So that was the thing. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so close. It's so close to being
so close.
Like the coolest and most brilliant thing ever. And then we could, literally, I would call it space wine.
Space wine.
So that's what would be on the label. I kind of imagine like crudely drawn cartoons, of like an astronaut, up above Earth, and he's got like his little space wine bottle.
He's got a space wine bottle, but his head is actually a piece of popped popcorn.
Yes. Properly abstract.
Yes.
Because it's corn-based wine.
Because it's corn-based wine. So really, it's bourbon.
So really, it's bourbon.
There's no grapes.
So it's space wine, which is actually bourbon, and it's powdered.
Yeah.
Who's gonna put me on
at all?
Who's gonna put me on Shark Tank?
Yeah.
Let's just go in.
Let's go. All we have to do is invent powdered alcohol, and we're off to the races.
Truly, nothing can stop us.
Yeah.
Nothing can stop us.
Nope.
Turning water into wine, which is actually bourbon. It's not confusing at all.
Not confusing at all.
Do you think it's a great idea, or do you think it's a great idea?
I think it's a great idea, and if we can figure out how to powder us some alcohol, we're down.
Okay. In the meantime, how would you guys feel about just space wine that comes in actual wine containers?
Or just like selling wine.
Just actually wine.
Yeah, wine or bourbon wine.
Good question. I haven't quite made up my mind. I feel like bourbon would take too long.
Think it would take too long. Here's what we really need to do is for there to be someone who like owns a distillery or works at a distillery and knows people who are in the know on these sort of things. Who's also a fan of the pop and who can be already aging some bourbon, which we can then be responsible for like marketing and putting our own label on it. What we really need.
Would you call it space bourbon?
I mean, we could call it whatever you want. Then space bourbon is obviously in the running. I mean, you don't even have to mention it.
It's obviously one of the top
Obviously in the running. You know, when NASA is sending people up to space, they're like, you know what? Let's add water. It's easy to ship water.
No.
Exactly. They're like, we want to be in a really breakable glass bottle that's really full of a heavy liquid that will lower your inhibitions and make you less able to make good decisions in space.
Alcohol seems like the worst
It
thing.
seems like
to send
the
to
worst
space.
thing you can send to space.
It is just there is no use for it.
Fortunately, you can drink our space bourbon on Earth.
Most space bourbons must be consumed in space. Ours, not true.
Exactly.
Who made it Earth friendly?
All right, so listen up, all distilleries out there who are fans of the pop. You know, we're interested. That's what we're saying.
Okay. We put out the proverbial pop signal.
Yeah, exactly. The pop signal is out there.
Do you think that if we had kind of similar to the bat signal,
Yeah.
we shot a popcorn kernel into the sky, do you think people would just think it was a cloud?
Oh my gosh, but tell me what. You know what? It's not like we don't have roof access. Okay.
What is above us right now is a roof.
We are a spotlight and a metal cutout away of a popcorn kernel shape from finding the answer out.
You know what? If like the local airport is like, hey, what's up with this giant beam in the sky? Like, it's a cloud.
I think people have spotlights, right?
Can you have a spotlight?
You have a spotlight.
This feels illegal.
I distinctly remember one night in high school, you and me and John and Mike saw a spotlight shining up into the air, and we were like, we should go figure out where that is. And eventually, we got there, and it was a party at a hotel.
Did we? Hold on.
Yeah.
We found this?
Yeah.
Go on us.
Yeah, look at us. We found it. We're like, whoa, spotlight. Cool. All right, next thing.
My version of the story actually goes the other way, where once upon a time I was having a party on top of the hill,
Yeah.
and a helicopter spotlighted us.
Oh, less fun.
From above. I know, we
Yeah.
scampered.
Yeah, I'm dead.
You get your
Everybody,
space
stop your
beer.
space beer. we got us the roll. Oh man. Camera, I'll meet you back at Waffle House.
Exactly.
Transition.
Okay, I have nothing else for you. I got idea after idea after idea. It's space. I do think that this next idea isn't too bad. Because I feel like it solves a problem that all people face. And it's the 4-day work week. 4-day work week, right? Hear me out. Except I feel like whenever I imagine the 4-day work week, I always imagine it being the case that we would extend the weekend. So either Monday or Friday becomes the new obvious inclusion. We have a
it feels like
longer-
Friday becomes the obvious conclusion.
It does feel like Friday with the obvious, because otherwise people would really have to change a lot of branding around to hate Tuesdays and a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, we've already established.
Friday's already kind of the weekend.
It's
you know,
true. But this is not the case with my new plan.
Okay.
You know, what you would do is your business establishments would have it such that your third day off per week would just drop randomly in an even pattern. So you would have equal numbers of each day of the week off throughout the year, but it might be random relative to your coworkers, so that the job could still continue to be going on despite the fact that you would have a day off. But it would just be maybe this week I would have Tuesday off, and then next week maybe I have Friday off, and then the week after that it's a Wednesday. And what this would allow is the fact that so many businesses also are open during the hours that everybody else is at work.
Yeah.
So it's like an appointment day.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like
Day.
so it's like because if you want to get like your oil change done, for example, it's like this highly complicated problem
Right.
of needing to find the opportunity to go and do it when it's open
Right.
and when you're not working.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just kind of gotta like really finagle things around. So it'd be so nice if just like each week it was just sort of like, okay, got my Tuesday this week, so that's the day I can go to the bank, at the grocery store.
Right. This is where I'm gonna schedule all of my dentist appointments and
Right.
haircuts and
The comings and
like that.
goings, as it
right.
were.
Errands day.
Errands day.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we call it. Like, no, I'm on errands day that day.
You know.
But then the cool thing would be is that, you know, I guess really 40% of the time, it would mean still a 3-day weekend.
Right.
Because
You'd have Monday and Friday.
you'd have Monday and Friday.
Right.
So you'd have these like periodic long weekends that would
Right.
fit into it as well.
It would also, no matter when it falls, it's like a pretty good situation for you, right? Because if it's on the Monday or Friday, then you have the 3-day weekend. If it's on Tuesday, then it's like Monday, then it's like, who cares about your Monday, right? You gotta go to work for one day and then get a day off again. Hooray, you're practically starting on Wednesday.
How great is this?
This is great.
It's almost Friday again.
Then you got, and then if it falls on Wednesday, it's like, what, 2-day weekend, 2-day work week? Then I'm back off for a day.
I know.
This was always the thing. Like, I always loved 4-day school week because it was just like, it felt like it was so much more approachable.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like again, do you think? Like I almost even would be very curious to see what this might do for people as like in terms of like being able to not have to take on so much all at once.
Well, because the other option so often is that like you have to do whatever the activity is during your lunch break or something. Like, oh, got an hour for lunch, but I guess instead of eating lunch today, I'm going to the dentist or I'm going to the whatever.
Right. Or you're chewing up your paid time off, depending on how your employer sees your need to go to doctor's appointments.
Right.
You know, which is kind of like one of those things where if that's what you're doing and you know you have to go to like 8 appointments throughout the year, then you use 8 1-hour appointments a year, then you use a full day of like your vacation time or whatever to go to the dentist.
Right. That would be so silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Like
worst.
people have appointments.
Right.
They gotta do them. And those are, it's like, cause sometimes, yeah, you're right, like, you know, I definitely, right now, need to go get my car changed. It's like, the place I go is like 30 minutes from my house and not in the direction of work. So it's like, I'm gonna have to make an appointment to go out there. It's gonna take me a long time to drive there. I'm gonna have to sit there while they do it, cause I'm gonna be far away from everybody. It's not like, and I won't have a car.
Right.
You know, and then, so, it, like, even if I scheduled it for like 8 o'clock, it's like, I'm still not gonna make it back to work until like 11 or something.
Right.
And then it's like, I feel guilty because I was in here and I was just moving the person there and I got behind on things. And, all that.
Maybe we should try errands today.
Errands day.
Errands day.
It's good stuff today.
I feel like you and I would need the same errands day though, because we do a lot of things together.
We do, yeah, we probably have to schedule it, in such a way.
It would become a problem because if we both had different days on.